Okay, picking up where we left off, we're on page 54, and I was in the process of showing you why there's two different ways to see the text in a cell. One is it could be something that you can't see. So if I click on it here, I get to see more. And you think, well, what if it's bigger than one line? There's a little down arrow here, and I can expand this guy to be bigger. Okay, and I mean, there's, you know, now you got scroll bars. So if this thing went on and on and on and on and on. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why there's good stuff. So can I type in here? Or do I have to type in here? What do you think? It doesn't matter. So if I go here, I can go up to this point and type lamb, and it works. Cool. So it doesn't matter if I'm actually clicking here and typing inside the cell, or clicking and then typing inside the function bar. Okay, the formula bar. Okay, that was the point of all of that. Okay, now if I want to edit some stuff, there's 2 points of editing. One is you have to kind of get it. And the second is you might want to try to get the cursor, the text cursor, to start where you want it to. It's called the insertion point. So for example, I'm gonna go back to this guy. Let's say I wanted to change, instead of have Mary had a little lamb, instead of little, it's going to be small. Okay, so I want to change the word little to small. So to do that, essentially, I want to click at that location. See, now I have that little flashing cursor, and now I can go in there and type, you know, small, and then, you know, just like always, you could hit, you know, delete key, or you can hit backspace. You know, same old, same old. It's just no big deal. This is just like, you know, a text document. If you have a bunch of stuff, I'm going to delete this just because it's kind of in the way. Now here, if you wanted to start, one of the other ways they talk about is to double click the cell, and double clicking it selects the cell, puts it in the edit mode, and puts that flashing cursor right where you clicked. I don't find that very useful because, you know, a lot of my stuff is too far away, and so, you know, it's in there. It's pretty cool. But so that double clicking kind of thing is how to position the little flashing cursor. That's it. That's all there is. Okay. On page 55, they talk about the difference between entering text, number, and time. So entering text, that's just what we've been doing, right? No big deal. I'm gonna delete all this stuff. We're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but I'm gonna highlight everything here, and I'm gonna do a right click. And one of the things down here is clear content. Doink. Okay, that made it go away. All right. So if you start entering numbers, okay, so I'm going to enter 12, 42. Okay, and then I must type, you know, hello, John. Have you noticed something a little odd? That numbers are automatically right justified and text is automatically left justified? Cool, huh? So this is done by the system all by itself. You don't have to tell it. It says, okay, I know what you're talking about. You know, it's smart enough to look at it and figure out how text should be done. So there's essentially 4 different data types that we're going to be talking about in this chapter. Text, which is like hello and John. Numbers, like 12 and 42. And you can have decimal numbers. You can have, 33.33. That works. Cool. It'll allow you to do weird things like, put commas in, right? That works. It'll even allow you to do currency kind of things, like $42.12, right? So it doesn't matter. Decimal points, commas, even dashes, because, you could have a minus number, right? Minus 42, right? Those are all numbers, right? Cool. Okay. And the system automatically figured out there were numbers, and they all made them, right justified. Woohoo! The other is typing dates in. Now, the system will automatically convert dates for you in a bizarre way. Let's just say I want let's do August 24th. So 8/24/2015. Okay, now that, just took it just the way it was. What if I had typed 8 August 2015? Ooh, isn't that pretty cool? So if you type dates using words, you know, like August, June, July, it converts it to what's this called the short format. It's also the military format if you've ever been in the Army. You know, 8 August. Oh, actually, I should have done 24 August, huh? Oh well, show you what I know. Anyway, the idea is that there's two different formats, the long format and the short format. So if you typed it in using words, it's going to convert it to that. And if you typed it in with just numbers, it's going to convert it to this. And it does not do, if you don't like this format, there's another chapter that's going to tell you umpteen gazillion ways you can spin this and make it as pretty as you want, and whether or not you want 3-letter abbreviation for the month, or the whole thing spelled out, or you want it month and then the date and date and the month, blah, 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 blah. That's another chapter. I'm just telling you, if you enter the date with using slash, it's going to do it this way. Now, do know, though, or recall that, you know, not all countries do it this way, right? So if I put in here, let's do, you know, 9/8/2015. So, is that September 8th or August 9th? You know, US date format, you probably have an answer for it. So the system is going to know what language you're using, okay? So if you have a French version of Microsoft Excel, actually that's not the way it works, a French version of Windows, and you fired up Microsoft Excel and typed in the exact same thing I typed in, it would flip the date and the times, or I mean the date and the month around. Okay, cool. Just telling you. The next one is time. Time is, the machine can pretty much figure out because you put a colon in there. So if I do like 1:30, or okay, it's going to say, that's a time. And notice that dates, times, and numbers are all right justified, and only text is left justified. Cool. Almost like that might be a test question or something. So is that AM or PM? I don't know. Let's try this. Let's do 30 PM. Let's shorten it up. 30p. Isn't that pretty cool? I don't even have to type PM. It'll just say got it. Isn't that pretty cool? Okay, so we've done numbers, we've done text, we've done umpteen gazillion different types of numbers, we've done 2 different types of dates and it automatically converted them, and now we've done time. Okay, so those are the 4 major types that you're going to be responsible for. The next thing we're going to learn is how to make text wrap. So I'm going to go, and no, we're not talking about musical ability, because you don't want to hear me rap. That's for dang sure. Let's go back to the Mary Had a Little Lamb. Okay, Mary had a little lamb. It's fleece, and that's good enough. Okay. Now, I can see all of that because this text cell has kind of overridden the cells next to it. Now I'm going to put something in this cell. This is actually an empty cell. How can I tell for absolute? This cell does not have little lamb in it. Looks like it does. How can I tell? Ooh, look back at the formula bar. Is there anything in the formula bar? How about this cell? Does it have its fleece in it? Nope. This is an empty cell. Why? How do I know for sure? Because there's nothing up here in the formula bar. When I click here, I can see it all. So Excel, when you start typing a bunch of stuff, it does not automatically make those things wider because it doesn't really know if that's what your intention is. So let's say, for example, that I want to be able to see all of this into a single cell because I have something else here. I have 42. Now, as soon as you type something in there, it says, okay, look, all bets are off now. Before, since there was a blank cell next to you, I kind of cut you some slack here. You know, you put too much text that fit into a cell and there was a blank next to it. So I did you the courtesy of showing you the text that kind of overlap. But you put something in there, it goes, dude, you're on your own. So now I can't see all of my Mary Hadda. So I'm going to change this to do text wrapping. But one of the things that I probably need to do, an odd thing about this ribbon is whatever tab you were on last, it stays that way. And we were on review, so it stayed that way. Kind of weird. I'm going to go back to home. So this little button right here, if you hover over it, it says text wrap. Isn't that pretty cool? So I'm going to do that. So I'm clicking on the cell that has the bunch of stuff, and I hit this, and doink, it, boom. Now, what it did is it expanded the height of my cell. It didn't actually move it. It still stayed in the same place. It's still I4, right where it was before. All it did was automatically expand the height of it so all the words fit. Woohoo! Okay. Pretty doggone cool. So that's text wrapping. But let's say, for example, at the end of this verse, you wanted to put a hard return. Okay? So you didn't want it to kind of stop where it was. See where the comma is? I want to have a hard return there. Well, there is a way you can artificially add things in here. And so you put the cursor where you want, and then you hold the Alt key down and hit Enter. Okay? And that will make a break right where you told it to. Now, remember I showed you where, wait, now, that didn't help anything at all. In fact, that made it worse. Now I can't even see the whole thing at the formula bar. Remember this little doodad? Okay. That's what that little doodad is for. If you have hard breaks in it, this is going to show one gargantuan line. If there's more than one line, that's how you get to see it all. Okay, cool. All right. One of the things we're going to talk about is on page 58, they talk about manipulating cells and cell ranges. And they talk about, you know, cut and copy and paste. So let's say, for example, that I want to copy this cell and put it someplace else. Okay, so one way to do that is first you have to highlight the cell. That makes sense. And you have to put it into the copy buffer. Ooh, what was that keyboard shortcut that I talked about in the common features? Okay, if you don't remember, that's okay. But over here is cut. Over here is copy, which is Control-C. Shh, don't tell anybody. And paste, which we don't have yet. Well, the reason why, hey, that's a good Trivial Pursuit question. How come the paste buffer, the paste button, is grayed out? What do you think? Is it possible because the paste buffer is empty? Isn't that pretty cool? The machine knows you haven't copied anything yet. And why would it offer to paste something that it doesn't have? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do copy. And now the paste button has kind of lit up, hasn't it? Woohoo! So let's move over here to this spot. And I'm going to go back and hit paste. Doing. So I've copy and pasted. No big deal. Let's say, for example, now I'm going to ignore the fact that we have some flashing doodads here, because that's telling me the source for my copy, and that's not really relevant at this point. Okay, I'm going to do keyboard kind of things here. I'm going to do Control-X is one of those things that does a cut. Control-V does a paste. Remember all that? So instead of copying and pasting it, Control-X copied it and then put the little doodad around it, waited for me to do paste, and as soon as I did paste, it went and deleted it. So copy and paste, you end up with 2, right? Cut and paste, you end up with 1, okay? Because it cut it from the old location and pasted it in the new one. Okay, again, I don't think these are really, really tough concepts here. The next thing to talk about is selecting cell ranges. So instead of just copying one cell, let's say I wanted to copy more than one. How would you do that? Well, you do that by selecting it's sort of like a rubber band. And you select one corner and then you select the other corner, and so I'm going to start with one of the corners, okay? It doesn't really matter if it's the upper left-hand corner, upper right-hand corner, that's not relevant. One of the corners. And then I'm just going to hold the mouse button down and just kind of drag. And see, if I drag down, I can go this way, I can go that way, right? I can go, right? So I'm going to say, I want to copy all of this. Okay, let's just do that one row, okay? So now what I have, if I let go of the mouse, okay, I put the thick border around. Remember how I told you about when you select a cell, you can look at the headings to tell where you are? Same thing here. I have I, and then I have 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, this is a good place to stop for the 15-minute mark. We'll pick this thing up again in just a few.